So the WNBA, this A'ja Wilson problem is it's only going to get worse. It's only just beginning. And when I say WNBA has an A'ja Wilson problem, is that anything to do with how she plays? No. Is it to do with her herself necessarily? Not really. But it is just one of those situations where it's like the worst that the WNBA can look is, we can be honest, the worst thing that they can look like as far as some of the off-the-court drama is just complete hypocrites. Because if you've not seen, you've now got what's his name, Jason Whitlock being some sort of a voice of reason. Man, Jason Whitlock should never be a voice of reason. I'm sorry, I strongly dislike the guy, but everybody in the WNBA is scared to say a negative word about A'ja Wilson. And it's not even that she's done anything horrendously awful. The problem is just the hypocrisy when it comes to Caitlin Clark is just out there playing golf with Lexi Hull. And she is supposedly responsible for what every single person says online about her. But A'ja Wilson is hanging out with, I'm not even going to say the name. I'm not going to do a Jason Whitlock. You can look up that post himself. Hanging out with a guy who has terrorized people. And she gets a pass. The same people that are going mad at Caitlin Clark, she gets a pass for one of her in real life friends who brags about being close with her, who Dawn Staley in South Carolina is tweeting out positive things about, tweeting wishing them happy birthday when they've been terrorizing the WNBA players, media, the fans for years. And is it up to A'ja Wilson to cut ties with this person publicly? Probably, but the problem is we all in life have friends that probably aren't the best people, and it gets very different when you're in public. But I think the reason why people are running with this, and it's the reason why you're going to allow Jason Whitlock, the likes of Outkick, to control a narrative, is because you've now, this is the response. No matter what anyone says about anyone, the response will always be, but what about this person that is A'ja's friends? I'm not even going to give them the time of day to show their name, because they've gone 0 dark 30 on social media, and there's weird stuff that's happened with that situation. And the reality of this is that it's a gotcha. It is a gotcha. And what's happening now with the WNBA is that the people that aren't really interested in the sports and interested in drama have completely taken over. The drama stuff has completely taken over and is over, has more relevance than the sport itself. And that is just unfortunate. In general, that's something that you don't want to see from the sport. And look, if you're saying I'm someone that covers the drama, I do. I'll admit it, but I will always cover the sport more. I will always cover the sport more than I'll cover the drama. It is just unfortunate that you can see the talking about the record attendance 5,000, talking about the game 4,000 views. But I can guarantee you this video has the most views since Marina Mabry taking a shot at Chicago's guy. And that's just the reality of it. And the problem is that this keeps the argument going. And this whole thing is going to keep the argument going. And this is something that should have been stopped years ago. This is something that the WNBA and the WNBA community kind of let keep going for too long. If you've ever seen, if you're reading on Twitter, a lot of people are talking about how this person had been terrorizing the freaking WNBA fans for years, terrorizing players for years. And it's only now. And it just kept happening. Nobody really cared. And this person was allowed to do what they do. A'ja Wilson obviously was friends with the guy. And nothing was seen of it. But now with more viewers, more people watching, the problems in the league are going to be amplified. And this isn't necessarily that much of a shot at A'ja Wilson, because I don't think A'ja Wilson's responsible for this at the end of the day. Just I don't think, I've said it plenty of times, AJ Wilson is not responsible for Aces or her fans. Caitlin Clark is not responsible for her fans. Angel Reese is not responsible for her fans. Like, the reality of this is that these are just basketball players. And look, and this is coming from someone who does not particularly like AJ Wilson. Like, just, again, I don't know her as a person, just from what we've seen online. Not a fan of it. Like, big fan of Caitlin Clark. And to be honest, I have, as a social media person, knowing the kind of ins and outs, how to grow on social media, how to build a brand in this type of a platform and in this type of thing, I actually have a lot of respect for what Angel Reese is doing, because like, her ability to make sure she is the center of attention is crazy. And if she can continue to keep up and play decent level basketball and improve, that's going to be great for the league. But what isn't great for the league is the fact that there is a gotcha against the person people are trying to do everything they can to be the face of the league. If I'm the WNBA, I'm telling you, if I am the WNBA, I'm trying to, as good as AJ Wilson is, let her stats speak for herself. They need to stop the media. The AJ Wilson is needs more attention, all this crap, because that just starts the whole conversation of bringing Caitlin Clark and like fans into it, and then it becomes the conversation where AJ Wilson's friend gets brought up into it, and yeah, it just becomes messy. The whole thing becomes messy. And look, if the WNBA don't want to promote Caitlin Clark, promote just the young players then, because it's just not a good look. It's just not a good look. And you know it's bad when people are saying, you know what, I agree with Jason Whitlock. Never agree. Like, you know it's bad when Jason Whitlock is coming out with more reasonable responses in the freaking WNBA media. You know it's bad. Like, you know it's bad when Jason Whitlock is doing that. And, like, it's the truth. It's the truth. He's the only person that seems to have the balls to talk about this. And in the legacy media. And it's just not great. It's just really not great. And I just want you to ask you guys a question. Has there been any story about AJ Wilson in the last 12 months that has come from positivity? That has been positive. Like, the MVP, as much as anything, was her whole year was talking about the 4th place vote for MVP last year. The whole year, while she was getting her unanimous MVP, the talk, as much as anything, was that the rumor was she was losing Defensive Player of the Year, and then it was you need all these stats so that she's not Defensive Player of the Year, when the reality is just she won the unanimous MVP, and that couldn't even be an issue for 24 hours, because within 24 hours, the talk was about being scared of going to freaking Indiana. Like, there hasn't been more than like 20 hours, like her balling out in the Olympics. Immediately afterwards, the winning isn't for everyone commercial came out. So it's like, it's just, the whole thing with AJ Wilson, it's just messy. Everything, the one thing I won't fault AJ Wilson for is on the court, but everything off the floor with AJ Wilson is just messy. And it is. Trying to put somebody that's this messy as the face of the league. Like, just like you can't necessarily put Angel Reese the face of the league. Whereas someone like, even if the WNBA aren't going to push Caitlin Clark, push Fee. Push Nafisa Collier. It's just not messy. Push Neko Nwumake back in the day. Because it's like, you want good basketball players. You want somebody that's not going to divide opinions as the face of the league, like a Steph Curry was. It's just almost entirely universally liked. And it's unfortunate that everything that surrounds AJ Wilson, sometimes it's her fault, sometimes it's not. But everything that surrounds AJ Wilson ends up messy. That's just the truth.